You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
All right, it is the 6th of January. Welcome to Dick and Skippy in the Mornings here on Lone Star Community Radio, broadcasting live on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, worldwide irlonestar.com, and facebook.com/Dick and Skippy. It's our year in review show. It is the 6th, so it gave us enough time to think about what we want to do. I know Sean had plenty of time to think about it. But yeah, welcome to today's program. Hanging out in the studio in downtown Conroe, Texas at the LSCR studios. Today's show is brought to you by Clean Sweep Office Cleaning. You can always call them at 832-689-7. Oh, I went away. There's a phone number in the description for our great sponsor, Clean Sweep Office Cleaning. They do all the office cleaning stuff in Montgomery County, so if you need them, you'll find their contact information below. And then, of course, C3, The Woodlands, they do all your copywriting, editing, video work, and all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, let's start the show. We're a little late, so we got Sean.
Tis I.
Tis you. We're trying to be here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Sean has another job, if people didn't know that. So he has obligations to paying customers, not the fans. He doesn't care about the fans.
Now, if the fans want to start paying me, it's a win-win.
We gotta work that out. but yeah, so we're here hanging out in the studio all the way till 11 o'clock. No guests today. So if you want to be our special guest, just tune in on Facebook.com/Dick and Skippy. Give us comments. Go. Sean's on the comment front.
I am. I'm gonna say hi, Haba. Hi, Simon and Angie. I see you guys on. I know there are more listening. It's really weird when we were out near the end of the year for a while. We started getting a lot of messages from people we knew and didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, where are you guys? And so we realized that, on Facebook, we only see a fraction of who's actually listening in. But you guys are the non-silent majority, so we love you.
Well, there you go. Well, today's show, the whole concept was to have 4 segments, every segment being 30 minutes, but it being 9:30, we can't really do all 4
Or we
segments.
can talk real fast.
So what we're going to try to cover is kind of topics over the last year. So we're going to do technology, entertainment, politics, and then quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of review those kind of sectors of what we encountered and experienced and stuff like that in 2020, the COVID year. And let's start with, I'm just going to go for it. Let's start with entertainment. Let's talk about some entertainment that people experienced. And if you hear some rattling, that is the uncontrollable force of the Crichton Theater. The mafia over there told me I couldn't dictate when they could work. They apparently have been not working for a whole year on this, and they decided to work this week on the Crichton Theater. So if you hear some...
It's personal. I heard them talking that they wanted to screw with us.
Well, what was funny is yesterday, Sean, I heard this little like this. It sounded like this. It was like... And I was like, is that Keith over at the Brain Iron? Like, what is he working on? That's so, like...
And it's just on the cusp of hearing.
Yeah.
Just enough to be annoying.
And I went in there, and what's so great is his mother's in there holding her ears, and she's like, it's driving me crazy. It won't stop. And I go, what is that? Is that like a rodent or something? And she's like, no, that's the Crichton Theater all the way over there. The vibration's so heavy, it
sometimes have you noticed
the
almost stuff is worse than it's like when it's just on the edge of hearing, or when your windshield gets splattered just enough to smear. I'd rather it be full. Speaking of full rain, we got some weather to talk about.
Quick. It's right now it's 59 degrees in Montgomery County. We have a high of 68, a low of 42. We do have a big chance of rain coming in the afternoon between 1 and 4. So if you're in the Montgomery County, we're expecting some rain later this afternoon.
And those of our friends in Houston, apparently it's like 100% chance. So batten down the hatches.
Yeah. Let's see. We're talking about the year in review, and we're going to start with entertainment. One thing that my wife and I were chatting about, because I I talked to my wife about the topics we're talking about, and she can give me something back.
Mm-hmm.
She made a good point about entertainment. She said basically this was the year that we realized we really didn't need movie stars. Mainly because
or athletes.
Our athletes, yes, very good point. And it's kind of funny because she pointed out, like, imagine like all the backlash of like that Imagine video from Gal Gadot and those rich people, and then it was just kind of like all of a sudden no one really cared to go to movies. No one cared if movies were coming out.
We have learned that we can go a year without hitting the cinema every weekend.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. What's interesting is it almost parallels the idea that we're okay with streaming to the point where even if it's crappy, we'll still watch it over than going like really caring about the theater, if that makes sense.
I've been finding myself looking for the crappy stuff just to.
Well, I was thinking about this, Sean.
Palate.
Do you think that the mass influx of I would say streaming video movies? So like how Netflix has their big movies. Mm-hmm. Like last year they had a bunch of big movies, but it was on streaming platform. So it's almost like it didn't have its wrecking ball feel where it's like, have you guys like gone to the theater and seen the new Christopher Nolan movie? And like, have you seen that kind of thing? Like it's just kind of like, oh, he released it. It wasn't a big deal. There wasn't a red carpet. There wasn't like, we don't know those things. And it just kind of happened. And then 3 weeks later, I'm like, oh, cool, movie. Mm-hmm. And then I click on it. And so it's kind of funny. I think the entertainment side is our expectation has shifted. Mm-hmm. And now it's just like the norm is, oh, we're bored. We have time to watch something. What do you want to watch? Like, oh, we have genres. Okay. Oh, look, there's a new movie with Chris Pratt. Cool. And then like we're not sitting there day one going, oh, we got to watch the new Chris Pratt movie on release day. Mm-hmm. So I think that's kind of our expectation changed with entertainment.
That's an excellent point, Dick. I was going to tackle this topic by saying we took a huge step backwards, but in a good way.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you look at like the post-apocalyptic movies for the most part, The Postman or whatever, it's always someone poorly dressed, acting on a stage and doing an old, a stage version of an old movie. I think Kevin Costner in The Postman's doing Empire Strikes Back or Hamlet. What I'm saying is, in regards to electronic or mass media, like films or something, with the exception of WALL-E, where he's got a VHS of Hello Dolly that he plays over and over, but it's just to learn how to dance. In reality, that's kind of happened here too, that cinema-based movies tended to get larger, the blockbusters.
Yeah.
And streaming opened up, what was that one that... The Bird Box. Remember that?
Yeah.
That Netflix one where it broke all records? If you put that in the cinema, it would have played the first weekend and gone away.
Yeah.
No one would have cared. Because if you watch it on streaming, by definition, it can't be a huge grand spectacle because people may have big TVs, but sometimes they're just watching it on their phone or their iPad. So you can't have like Batman Returns with IMAX level stuff. Well, so there's a separation.
And I also think there's a new direction and quality of visual or video entertainment is TV shows. Mm-hmm. I think the industry realized, hey, there's still money being made if you make a 9-part series of a TV show, and it's not. It's kind of like the British way, where they only make 3 or 4.
Well, yeah, it's usually in England 6 or 12.
Yeah.
Then with the 13th being like the 7th or 13th being the Christmas special.
Yeah, and so and I think people's expectations, and that's what people talk about now. It's like, have you seen this show XYZ? Kind of like Doom Patrol. Like Doom Patrol to me was a special show because I didn't hear anything about it. And I usually read, a little bit about comic books every week, like what's going on. I like comic book stuff. But Doom Patrol was one of those, like, everyone kind of just mentioned, oh, hey, you should check it out. Oh, hey, you should check it out. And it wasn't a big thing. But when I checked it out, I was like, dude, this is really good. So I think that's where the entertainment's kind of going now because more people are staying home. And I also think people who are changing their focus on spending their money on entertainment, they're satisfied with the current subscription they got, and they're doing other things.
And hand in hand with that, let's look at cinemas right now. First off, the first film back, like the only film of 2020, people hated Tenet. it bombed.
Well, I don't think I see. I don't think people hated it. I think people like the Christopher Nolan makes movies that are only for certain kind of people in my mind.
Right, and for them to choose that one for a certain mindset. Now, here's the thing: without looking,
They should have done like Step Brothers 2 or something.
exactly. Now, here's my
My
point:
Best Friend's Wedding 2.
cinemas are open right now. Quick, without looking, name me 3 movies in the cinemas right now.
Wonder Woman.
Okay, name me 2 more. Anyone,
That's it.
without looking.
That's all I got.
After a year of effectively being shut down, the movies that are there, people should be flocking to. Like, oh my gosh, the cinemas are open.
Yeah.
But they're nothing movies.
Well,
They're
I will say the ticket stub's getting back together, by the way.
Good.
After this. And I asked Chris, I was like, how are things going? And Chris just said, hey, like we're open. They're open like 3 days a week. And he's like, but the issue is till March, that's when the movies are going to be back in circulation. Because if you remember circulation of movie theater movies, every weekend there was at least 1 to 2 movies being released. Mm-hmm. So there was always a constant new movie in the theater every week.
the plan was for it to last a week or 2 and then get out of there and cycle it through.
Really, there's no new movies every week. It might be 3 movies a month.
I think the cinemas are going to have to go back to the way it was when I was a kid, where you had the Presidio and they showed Star Wars or The Godfather for like 8 weeks, or Top Gun or Clue, and that was it. You had 3 screens maximum. Usually it was a standalone. That, combined with the fact that people are used to being in the comfort of their own home watching movies on their big screen TVs, the cinemas are going to have to bend over backwards to inspire people to come in, which means lower the prices, get recliner seats, valet service, hot meals. It's not, $20
Well,
for
my
a plate
big-
of soggy nachos.
Well, this kind of goes with the under entertainment and this kind of quality of life stuff. Is at one point we're gonna still have to drift away through the COVID. What do you call it? COVID expectations. So like cleaning and masks and all that stuff. Like at one point we have to. There's gonna be a point where it's like we don't expect everyone to be wearing a mask in HEB. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, and I think that kind of deteriorates anything people do outside. Mm-hmm. Like when I say outside, I'm not saying playing soccer or something. I mean like going out to restaurants and things. Like people are still going to go, well, let's just there's a new wave or.
I anticipate drive-ins having more of a resurgence. We got the Showboat out 2920. There's one halfway between here and Dallas.
Well, I think people are also finding other stuff to do than go to the movie theater.
And that's where I said we took a massive step backwards to like simpler times. I've noticed that like
Sheriff's in town.
board games.
I called him to go talk to these people.
It's solid choice.
Maybe
Conroe PD's on
maybe
it.
a badge will change their mind.
That's right. Badge and a gun and an attitude. But games are, family game nights have resurged. And, there's some gaming stores. There's Fat Ogre. There's Space Cadets. There's Adventure Begins. And they're packed with people wanting to play these
We can connect this with technology. And that's it's really funny.
Hey, Nick.
It's really funny to see technology companies go, oh, man, people want to talk to one another. And especially in the video game sense. Like when I grew up playing video games. I keep an eye on the video games, and it's funny that I noticed.
Yeah, I've been known to play Pong.
Yeah, well, not that, but like, so say Pong was in existence, right? It is, but then COVID hit. These companies were like, "Hey, we gotta let these people play Pong together one way or another. Mm-hmm. We gotta figure it out." Mm-hmm. And so they developed so many different ways to, like, for example, there's a great game that we played remotely with friends that we always usually play locally. It's called Jackbox. And Jackbox originally, I think, was a DVD kind of game. Like you put the DVD in and you answer questions. But
Is this like You Don't Know Jack?
Yes, it's part of that.
Okay.
And then what they did is they made more interactive games. And where you do is you visit a website on your phone, and your phone became the controller. So everyone, like, it was very simple. It wasn't complicated. And everyone had a controller because most everyone has a phone. And then when COVID hit, what they decided to do is let people stream it. So basically, I could set it up at home, stream it on YouTube or something, and my friends in Austin could just go to the YouTube, type in the URL, and they'd be watching my TV, and they get their phone out, and we'd be playing together right then and there. And I think a lot of companies are kind of adapting to that way. And it's like, oh, this is how they want to play together, and that's a way to do it.
Companies and individuals, obviously, most of you who listen to the show know that I'm heavy into theater, and I love
theater's
theater.
dead.
Au contraire, mon frere.
It's dead.
Even when there was like the total lockdown scenario happening in Harris County, many theaters, a couple in particular, there was a wonderful live streamed, Zoomed murder mystery, which was a fully realized. Everyone was separate. The only two people who'd be together if they were a married couple in real life or something, or father daughter.
Yeah.
They could share the screen, but their characters would always be together.
Well,
And
one thing I hope, Sean.
well, the
about
creativity
theater,
on that, just you take someone like a theater owner or actors and put them together. You got Zoom Shakespeare.
were they doing it at the Alley or were they doing it at
No, Alley shut down. Alley had money to burn, so they laid off everybody and said, we're out till 2022.
Well, see,
these are the local dinky community theaters.
Well, one thing I really hope happens for the theater, and this is me being a patron, not like an actor or anything, is I do know there's an idea behind royalties. When you do Hello Dolly, like you said in the VHS, like to put it on, I have to pay a royalty.
You have to prepay it too.
Yeah, and then I have limitations on that royalty.
Yes.
So with the success of Hamilton on Disney Plus, it makes me hope that someone's actually having a conversation with these royalty people, saying like, "Hey, can we at least do one film version of our production?"
More publishers are doing that. Unfortunately, there were 3 publishers, Thames Widmark, MTI, and Samuel French, and they suddenly conglomerated into something called Concord Theatricals. And so they've got kind of the monopoly. You have Dramatic Publishing, you have all these other ones.
Well, like for you, like it'd be great because you streamed at the Woodlands.
Right, but it was a show that I wrote.
What I'm saying.
I gave permission.
You hope there's a way for smaller theaters like the Crichton Theater, even though they're drilling all the time. And then we got the Owen Theater. Like, it'd be nice to see some leeway on these royalty people to hey, you can do one production that you can put up for, the running of the play, and people you can charge. Like, hey, watch Hello Dolly put on by the Players Theater Company for $5. Mm-hmm. And then...
Unfortunately, what doesn't work about that, there are 2 things. First off, as long as there are the Hamiltons on Disney Plus or on YouTube, those shows must go on, which are Broadway level, multi-million-dollar productions with fully professional video services, and they're free. Very few people are going to want to spend $20 to sit on their YouTube and watch an amateur production.
I think they will.
Many theaters have tried it and it's just not working. You'll get your diehard patrons doing it, but also it goes against what theater is all about. The whole point of live theater was that there's no screen. There's nothing separating the audience from the action.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the mentality of COVID people. Not wanting, you're going to lose patrons just because they don't want to go out for the next year.
Many of those people are having problems. I've gotten in many a conversation with people saying, how dare you put on a live show, you're going to kill people.
I can't believe
And these are theater owners telling me this. So we're just going to hunker down till it's all over.
And I know there's a cost effective, like a cost thing with putting on a production like that. And there's also an expectation, and the royalties are part of it. Because if it was cheap to do, you would do it.
But don't forget also the amount of money, that's under the expectation that you have. If you have a 100-seat theater, that you fill 80 seats or 100 seats. Yeah. When we're down to 30%, like Stageworks Theater's at 30% capacity right now for those, for the shows that they had over the holidays and kid shows, you get 1/3 of the box office revenue coming in, but the publisher's still saying you owe the full amount of royalties, so you're losing 70%.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I wish there was some understanding from these royalty people. Be like, hey, we're going to waive some stuff.
Theater
we're going to do this.
Will segue into more originals or festivals or reviews, and only then will the big publishers realize that.
Well, let's go back to the entertainment. Theater's dead, and it's because Sean wants to not agree with me, and he doesn't think of the future of the theater.
I want to kill people.
I think. Oh no, I'm totally serious about technology is getting cheaper, and putting on a production. I'm not talking like a Hamilton style production. I'm talking like a 3-camera production, and you just tie in the audio, and you have some live switcher there that's switching the cameras, and then you're getting the stage. You're getting and all you got to do as a performer is you perform it, and you can even do it in a live audience. I wouldn't do it in a live audience. That way you can control the lighting a little better, and then make it. The purpose is the film version, and that kind of promotes, hey.
And this protects the audiences, right?
Well,
by your definition.
Well, it does a lot of things. What it does, one, it gives you another outlet to reach people, because social media is a way to reach. And you say, hey, you can watch this video or come see the play. Those kind of things. And then, or if you watch the video, you can just pay $8 for like everyone in the room can watch it for $8. So it's like you're renting a movie and you're supporting your theater and you're watching your friends or whoever perform. And to me, at one point, that's just an outlet. That's just an idea, Sean.
Oh, it's a good idea, but also
Sean doesn't want to deal with it because he's bad at it.
Well,
He's just a bad
I have
director.
one question for you. Who pays for the videography?
That's what I'm saying. Like at one point, technology and companies, it's going to be not that expensive to pay somebody one time to come in there, set up.
You can have a cheap camera, but if you have an idiot behind it, it's going to be bad. So that's what I'm saying. Put something like that on, you have to convince the actors to, do this. You have to pay for videography, for videographers, for equipment, for editing, for distribution, and if this is no one in the audience, this is an extra production that you're not even getting any of the 30% of your box office in. So, and don't forget, that's with the assumption you're going to sell out at 30% capacity. If you're lucky, you're going to sell 25%.
We're getting into the details here. I would do it before you go out, before the opening night.
Then why wouldn't anyone come watch?
Because people are still going to come watch, but you have 30% capacity. Mm-hmm. So you're going to sell out pretty fast if people come. So it's just another promotion
I see what you're saying, but many of the local theaters have tried the paid for streaming thing, and they knocked it down. $5, $1, pay what you want. Oh heck, it's free. No one wants to pay $20 to watch.
No one wants to watch it
unless it's Hamilton.
No one wants
something.
to watch it. No one wants to go to the theater, Sean.
Yeah, they do.
That's what you're missing out on.
No, we sold out at Stageworks. We had 2 shows: the kids show and the adult show. 16 performances each. We didn't sell out each performance, but we did the entire run of both. And, of course, it was incredibly safe. We sterilized, masks were involved, social distancing.
Well, Sean told me secretly he didn't watch one seat because he's like, this is the lottery seat. That's why he described it as.
That's right. It's the Russian roulette seat. Hey, Terry, good to see you.
Well, yeah. So outside of that entertainment, I think it's, if you talk about the streaming, we talked about, like especially sports. That's one thing I loved seeing about sports is on the political side of it is like somehow they're able to convince people that, hey, we can still play this game and we can pretend it's safe, but it's not. And then they could say, it's kind of remarkable to me that in a year or two, they were able to see, was it cost effective to put on the NBA in the bubble in Orlando, or was
epilogue to that is a lot of people are saying, going, hey, I saved didn't make a lot of money, but I saved a lot of money by not paying $100 a football ticket and $50 for a beer. And you know what? I found other things to do than go to this game. Now, I'm not anti-sports per se, but I'm anti-multi-billionaire athletes.
Think of the NFL like a movie theater. Mm-hmm. So the owners make their money off people coming to their theater.
Or ad revenue.
And no. Ad revenue is split evenly. So you're not going to make more money than you did last year. You know what you're making from ad revenue.
Gotcha. Okay.
As an owner.
Gotcha.
But really how they depict their like, hey, I made more money than you last year is when I sell more jerseys, when I have more people come to my stadium, when I have people buying more hot dogs. Like that's really the only way they make their money on top of what they're already making. So I can see if they continue this whole no one can go into stadiums for a while, like the owners are going to figure something out. They're going to be like, hey, we have to restructure the whole
they're going to start telling the players, that $10 million, it's down to 1. Now it's down to 100,000. And then the players will get snippy and leave, and we'll get back to brass tacks again.
Well, I can't wait to watch the Super Bowl with no fans. Because it's gonna
be right out of a post-apocalyptic movie.
Yes,
the World Series with 30 people in the audience.
It's either they're gonna have fans in there because they have the authority to change laws, kind of like FIFA can do that, and because about FIFA.
Yes.
So when they do the World Cup, they can change the laws, and I'm not kidding you. Like think of they're having it at Qatar or whatever. And then you can drink there now. Magically, you can drink in Qatar.
It's amazing.
And then same thing with Brazil. They had a law for a while saying you couldn't drink in the stadium, but now the World Cup's here. We're gonna let everyone pee on the sidewalk. Like it doesn't matter where the World Cup's here. So that's the funny thing about sports is now we're seeing that they can get away with a lot more stuff, and they're not. It was sad is everyone is holding each other accountable to keep everyone safe, but at a sports level, it's like for example, that one baseball player who tested positive
then went out
on the field, and I didn't hear anything more about after that. Like
But eventually, for every game that's played that someone's being forced to stay at home because of a mandate saying you can't go out, but you can watch other people go out and have fun. Sooner or later, that person's going to say, "Screw this."
Yeah. Well, we saw that in the politics world.
Right.
So
and it's gonna follow with cinemas and sports. I think combining the two. I think it was Interstellar, that big movie about them trying to find a new planet or something, where it's the near future and there's a blight all over the world. But they were like having a World Series game, but it was like at a minor league field with 50 people in the audience.
What weirded me out
That's
about
what
that?
we're going to be at.
What weirded me out about that movie is that movie was kind of based on the idea that we're having a hunger issue, like a food issue. And I'm thinking, like, isn't hydroponics really effective?
Well, in that movie, there was a blight that was hitting particular crops.
Yeah,
So,
but like
wheat was gone. You couldn't grow wheat anymore anywhere.
no, they were growing wheat.
No, it was just corn. They were down to corn.
Or whatever. But like, I was like, isn't hydroponics kind of pretty good at growing stuff? You don't have to be outside.
Well, that's the beauty of science fiction. You can lay enough of the groundwork so someone can fill in the gaps what caused it. There's this movie called Sunshine where the sun's going out and they're going to send a probe to drop a nuclear bomb in the sun to reboot it, or the core. That's why it's called science fiction, because you can play with the facts.
Let's keep it real.
Okay.
What was your favorite TV show, movie, or documentary or whatever of 2020?
I'm going to have to say
Okay.
Never Surrender, Never Retreat. I think is what it was. It was a documentary, and I'm usually not a documentary fan, but it was a behind-the-scenes, loving-look documentary at Galaxy Quest.
Okay, yeah.
And
how'd you see that?
It was on Amazon Prime.
Oh, cool.
And I wasn't expecting the question, and if I thought about it, I would have said, "Oh, there was this or that." But I'm telling you, just for sheer feel goods and fun, the actors who are left alive, because oh God, what's his name? Alan Cummings, not Alan Cummings.
Alec Rickman.
Rickman, thank you, passed away. But the actors left behind were going on, "Oh my gosh, he was so good," or this. There was love in that. It's weird to see, Sigourney Weaver saying, "I love that show. I would do a sequel in a heartbeat right here, right now." Because usually actors are like, "Well, I don't remember it. I'm not Spock." It was just so.
Okay.
Reminded me of
get it. We like it.
So that was mine.
All right. So what
about yours?
My favorite that I can really remember, because I can't remember anything anymore. I would say Doom Patrol is probably my favorite surprise. Like, that was really good. I enjoyed it.
You are wearing me down. I will find a way to watch
it. It was good. And then, of course, X-Files and Star Trek.
Okay, but those aren't new.
Yeah, I think they had a new season. X-Files had a new season last year.
I couldn't even make it through it.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm rewatching the entire series.
When they had the initial return,
I'm on season 3.
and then the ending, there's a
don't tell me.
No, this is the previous one where it ends. The final episode ends with a UFO over everyone, and
You talking about
someone's dying.
What season are we talking about?
10.
10. I haven't seen that.
But 11's the one that they've already finished 11.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen any of the newer ones.
Okay, well, I will tell you, 11 starts off because 10 ends on a cliffhanger, and then 11 starts going, "Oh no, that was just a vision on what could have happened."
I like that kind of stuff.
I hate that. That's how they got people into Galactica 1980.
What's the worst?
The worst TV or film
thing
or
that you not that you had to have seen it. You had to watch the whole thing.
Wow, that's a tough one. It's probably one that my wife made me watch, and where I'm gonna have to think about that one. What about yours?
That would be Wonder Woman. Easy.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I came in right at the end of the year too. I was like, that was just bad. But outside of that, I mean, TV shows. I didn't really watch any really invest my time in bad TV shows.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree, and especially with the 8-season things or something, I would start something. Okay, I'm not saying this is the worst thing I saw.
Did Game of Thrones end last year? I don't even remember.
No one does. That's what separates Game of Thrones from a Star Trek.
Yeah.
There's no staying power. There's no lasting power on it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: last season of Star Trek stunk also, but the message behind it carried it forward. Game of Thrones was, the flavor du jour.
Crap.
It was crap, man.
All right, so there's entertainment now.
Oh, Austin Powers Gold member. There you go. I watched all 3 Austin Powers movies a few weeks ago.
That was the worst one you've seen?
Yeah. It was too in-jokey.
You know what's funny about those Mike Myers movies is like at the very beginning, it was like it was perfect. His wave of humor and storytelling and like it was good. And then as he started making more and more movies, like if you put all his movies on a timeline, you can see the wave get rockier and rockier.
Oh, it's like Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler can only carry a streaming movie now.
No, he did Hidden Gems.
I thought that went straight to.
No, that went to theaters. That was like he almost got an Oscar for that stuff, man.
Oh, okay.
You gotta get with it. But no, if you look at the timeline of Mike Myers' movies, where he plays like a character, it gets progressively a little crazier.
Oh, I think the Love Guru was when people said, "Mike, just turn it in."
But yeah, so let's move on to technology. One of my favorite things about technology the last year is all the companies who do any type of service had to figure out the COVID stuff, and then everyone just now realized you can do everything with an app. Like you get your groceries delivered, you can like meet people online for hookups, and then it's like, or you can get. My favorite was the alcohol. Like all of a sudden, since we couldn't go anywhere to get our alcohol, the state of Texas, it's like, oh, now you can get it delivered.
I passed by a drive-through daiquiri place the other day. That is so cool.
That is so funny to me that all of a sudden you can just like, oh, because people don't leave their house, we're gonna let you get alcohol delivered, and we couldn't do that before. I'm like, man. Our country is sometimes so backwards, and that I think the app thing was really funny because there's a double-edged sword to it, and it's already starting to hit because I was reading an article about a California grocery chain firing all their delivery drivers because Grubhub can just do all the deliveries, so they don't have to pay and they don't have to have a fleet. It's like, hey, we'll just let these people on an app handle it, and we don't have to deal with it.
Well, fortunately, shortly, the state will be handling all of our food needs, so we don't have to worry about that
I don't
anymore.
believe that at all.
I have a confession to make in regards to the apps on phones and stuff for grocery shopping. Many, many, many years ago, mid-'90s, I was an office manager for it wasn't a headhunting agency. What it was an office for displaced executives looking for new jobs. We're talking high-level executives. And so it gave them their own little office suite, their own dedicated phone line.
Are they babies?
Well, no, it was that way they could come into work, come into the office, and I'd be the office manager / receptionist. So someone come in, yes, I'm looking for Mr. Smith. If that line would ring, hello, Mr. Smith's office, that kind of stuff.
So you're lying to people.
No, it was his office. He rented it, and it had resources. But one of the guys who I think had been high up in Randall's or something. He was a high-level executive. He was between jobs.
Yeah.
And he came up with this concept for people could call in a hotline to a Kroger or Randall's or whatever and say, I want a loaf of bread, basically what the apps are doing, and that then they'd get delivered. And I told him, I was very vocal about that's not going to work. People want to squeeze the Charmin. They want to test.
Sean.
I was flat out bang wrong on that. But here's the thing. In the 90s, I think I was right. People wanted, it was a social thing. Remember, we used to have date nights at grocery stores in that time period. Kroger would have Tuesday night date night, where singles night. They'd have live music playing in the produce section. I'm not joking. And so back then, people want to check the expiration date. They want to thump the melon. They want to make sure the can's not dented. But now, because of the enforced, stay home or die, or however you want to phrase it, because it became kind of a necessity, people
I like
are
to stay
embracing
home or
it.
die.
Stay home or die.
Wouldn't they do that with voting? Vote or die, or vote?
You don't need to learn to live with COVID. You need to learn to die with COVID. Joe Biden, presidential campaign debate.
Does that really say that?
He absolutely said
That's
that.
gross. But yeah, I think the double-edged sword has hit us, and now people are either losing their jobs or getting new jobs, or with the whole app thing. I haven't really used a lot of apps because my wife takes care of everything, and that tells you a lot about me. She knows how to use those apps, and I kind of like. What's funny is we had this conversation with my wife last week because I go grocery shopping, but like I literally get the same thing every time. So it's like I probably eat 7 different types of meals, and then like they're on a scale of like how much time do I have prep work?
Right.
So like
I'm with you.
I can make a 5-course meal, but I'm never gonna make that unless my wife like really wants me to. So that like I rarely get those items, but I'll get the items that I know like, hey, I need to eat healthy this week, or I need to eat whatever. And then I always have like the backups, like the PB&J. But I have a certain type of strawberry I like, a certain type of peanut butter I like,
Gotcha.
a certain type of bread, and I guess this is like bachelor living. That's how I work.
Absolutely.
And so when she gets frustrated with me when I go to the store and I only get like things that I'm not gonna lie, she says she likes this food, so she gets mad at me when I buy food that she likes. I was like, that's kind of crap,
It's crap.
But she started going like, we need to have, we have to have 2 sides. I'm like, not really. We don't need 2 sides. Like, no. And
I gotcha.
I don't use the apps. I think it's great because the thing I will say about the app stuff is it fits your lifestyle if you need it to be.
It's there if you need it, absolutely.
And I think that's really cool, and I hope, because we don't have children yet, and I was like, this is going to be one of the most valuable things, is we don't have to take children.
It's good to have that option.
Because that's one of my
But
anxiety.
as the world reads,
See, that's my anxiety of having children, Sean,
Okay.
is I don't want to bring them anywhere. Like, I don't want to bring them into restaurants because I've been in restaurants where kids are unruly. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this crap. Don't want to go to the movie theater. Don't want to go to the grocery store with them. The only place I'll take them is maybe like a play date, or like they're actually.
Well, you take them to a restaurant that's kid friendly.
No, I wouldn't. I told Holly, like, we're never eating out.
You will. Your mind will change. I got $10. This is
No.
you will.
I'm
there will
still-
come a night where it's like, we got to get out of this house. I don't care where we go. We're taking the kids.
Yeah,
we're
we're
going
gonna-
to Denny's.
Yeah, we'll go to Denny's. I'll just drop them off at my mom's house or something like that.
There'll come a point where your mom's like, you take the little sunshines
I'll drop
with
them
you.
off at your house.
Uncle Skippy will spoil them right.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, if I really need to get out of the house, do you think I really need to get out of the house with the kids? No.
And I grocery shop pretty much European style, where I go to the grocery store 2-3 times a week, and I only buy the stuff that we absolutely need or is on sale. I'll hit the clearance bin of the meat and say, hey, honey, guess what? We're having pork chops tonight because I found 2 thick pork chops for $2 because it's got to get cooked tonight or else. Or, I'm Mr. Coupon, or else. I'm Mr. Coupon, I'm Mr. the app code and stuff like that. And to me, I enjoy doing that. It's kind of like a game for me.
Let me ask you something. Is it laughable about the global takeover of Amazon?
No, it's here's the thing. Amazon, much like what we were talking about, the delivery of groceries, it's good to have it if you need it. But Amazon has positioned itself to be the one-stop shop for everything you need at the expense of local businesses now.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's laughable because it's like we see it coming.
It's not laughable, it's shutterable because
nah, you got to find the
many people who've been going, yeah, we want this, we want one payer system, we want one government, we want the other party, whatever. They're going to wake up one day and go, oh, wait, I got to pay these prices now? I don't have a choice? I can't go to the local grocers because they've all been bought out? Or, basically pretty soon, if this continues, the only grocery store that's going to be left is going to be Whole Foods because they're tied in with Amazon.
That's when you convert to Judaism and move in with the Hasidic people over in their own towns, or you can do Amish things.
I got the look, man. I got the Hasidic
You could
look
do the
here.
Amish thing.
Amish thing? Drive a buggy?
Well, they kind of control their own town a little bit. Mm-hmm. A little bit. I know there's some Jewish towns that are like pure Jewish towns where like.
I like to tell people that I'm Amish, but that I'm in my 40th year of Rumspringa.
You think they'll take you?
No,
If
no,
you show up
they
there,
absolutely would not.
I'm like, no. I think they would.
Oh no, I love the Amish. I really do. They rock. But I'd be in a permanent state of Rumspringa, that thing where you go out and party it up
It's like, why are you
to get it
here,
out of your
child?
system.
It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm in year 40 of that.
I'm tired for overpaying for cabbage. I want to grow my own cabbage.
Yeah, that's why I support local. When even if it's a chain local, like a McDonald's or something, it's still a franchise with local employees and local business owners for the most part. So wherever humanly possible, and my pocketbook cries at me when I do that because there are cheaper alternatives.
Well, I think the only way you're going to be able to support local in the long term is move to a small town. Because especially when the Taco Conroe, there's just nothing. There's no stopping it. It's going to happen because of just the amount of influence and power or money these companies have. It's going to happen. And I think that's just part of the way progress works in our society. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Progress should be
like, are you saying that Amazon should be shut down?
Nope, but it should be regulated.
And how? How would you regulate Amazon? What are they doing?
There are antitrust laws. There's monopoly laws.
What are they doing that's so bad?
They're knocking out competition.
Because they sell stuff online?
Yeah, there comes a point, and that's why we have the FTC.
So what are you saying? Like, you don't want Amazon to sell stuff online? Like, how would you stop Amazon from being antitrust or whatever you're telling me?
Break it down to smaller companies like Ma Bell happened.
So you're saying they're going to have 10 smaller companies still beating out local people?
Yeah, because that way it's no longer a one-stop shop. It's a 10-stop shop, in which case, well, it's not as convenient. So to do that, so I may as well go buy local.
How would it not be as convenient?
No.
You're just going to another website.
Or if you break it up, no one can hope to compete against Amazon right now. There's just no way.
I don't think
so. You break it down and allow competition to come in. That's what
we're going to get it right now.
That's what fair trade laws are all about.
So small companies can't compete against companies that work only online because the convenience factor is so easy with your phone to take care of what your needs are than actually physically go to a small town.
Then you regulate it and you jack up the price and you impose a tax on online fees.
So you're telling companies what to do and what to charge?
You have the FTC to do that.
Weren't you already upset
Trade Commission.
Weren't you upset about people charging for like the same price for cabbage or whatever? Too much money for cabbage?
No, you have. If you have Amazon selling cabbage and they're the only ones that, who are selling cabbage because everyone else is out of business because Amazon's so big, Amazon can say, okay, now cabbage, $5 a head, $10 a head.
Well, they're not the only one in business.
Online, who else?
Online? I mean, I have like 6 options for grocery stores in Conroe.
No, not grocery stores. You're saying Amazon can buy them out. Amazon owns Whole Foods.
All right. So let's say I want to buy some deodorant. How many options do I have to buy deodorant in Conroe? I would say about 7.
I'd say 700.
Well, I mean, like I could go to 7 different stores.
You can go to 700 different stores.
Yeah. So what's the issue here? Why are you upset with Amazon?
Because if they keep on going the way they're going, and especially with an enforced lockdown or the enforced mindset of if you go outside, you die.
Well,
so
companies
order
adapted.
everything online.
Companies adapted.
But no, Amazon is no different than previous companies that have been broken up because of monopolies. And that's how you get fair trade.
I think they're broken up because their CEOs and stuff are buttholes to certain leaders, and that's what happens. Because I think like if Microsoft probably wouldn't have gotten in trouble if they didn't find out those emails of them actually talking about nefarious things. Like if they just kind of did business, our business is better, and he was just very positive in the emails, they probably wouldn't have gotten in trouble. But when they found those emails from Bill Gates being cutthroat, you're like, yeah, this guy needs to go down because he's evil or whatever. Now he's Mr. Savior.
Right. Now understand that I'm violently opposed to any single payer anything. Healthcare, groceries, books. Bookstores are going away because they can't compete with Amazon. They're dying. Used bookstores are dying. They're going out. Pretty soon Amazon will control the book. Amazon's been here for decades selling books, and that's how it started. And then then music. Hey, groceries, now, Amazon products and so forth and so on. But you always had the alternative to hit Borders, Walden Books, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. They're all going away.
What would happen? Let me ask you this. What do you think the percentage of e-readers are?
In what context?
Well, I feel like
percentage compared to what?
I feel like e-reading is the new way to introduce books to people. Like if I have
I'm not opposed to e-reading.
Wouldn't that destroy bookstores?
No.
Why wouldn't it? If 80% of people read their books on ebooks, why would they go to a bookstore?
Does Amazon Prime sell you used books?
I can buy used books on Amazon.
Does Amazon Prime sell you used books? It forces you to buy new books or Kindle books only.
You
got to go to
books on.
not on Amazon through a third party where you're charged extra.
Well, no, I get free. It depends on the seller.
It's not Prime. I'm talking about the Amazon Prime books that they sell you, the Amazon Unlimited, First Read, whatever. These are new books only at full price.
I feel like you're just angry.
No, it's to have a single pair anything is bad.
I would focus on a different thing with all your.
What if we had a national energy company, just one gas station?
Oh, it'd be great. Chernobyl would happen.
Well, yeah, no, you'd be paying $10 a gallon in a matter of weeks. And they say, oh, well, until the government came in and said, you have a monopoly, you must be broken up.
All right, let's already transition into politics
Okay.
in 2020 because you're already angry. Let's get your energy and focus on better things because there's better things you can change than worry about Amazon. Bezos, my prediction with Amazon is Bezos himself is going to do something bad. And then people are like, well, we hate him, so we have to hate Amazon, and then we're going to take it down. The government's going to be like, oh, we don't like what you're doing. They're going to make up some rule that they're breaking.
So you're hoping that the survival of local businesses depends on somebody being bad enough?
No, I think the survival of local businesses depend on the person whose business it is and do the best they can to get people to. There are some successful businesses here in Conroe.
It's like you can't sue a multi-million-dollar corporation by yourself. You can't afford the lawyer to go up against them. They're too powerful.
This is what you do. It's all about numbers, right? Go to a bank and say, hey, I want to open up a bookstore. See if you can get a loan.
Of course you can't.
So,
especially right now. They've made sure that everyone's credit's getting trashed.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's like that's just the change of the times, man. You're yelling at
this
the
isn't
sky
replacing the Telegraph or the Pony Express with modern mail, where that's progress when there's a technology
It's a way of the past, man. It's just a way of the past.
But there's a segue period where those who have been trained to be, Pony Express riders or telegraphers, to give them on-the-job training, to have the same company hire, say, listen, telegraph department's dead, but here's telephone, and we're going to train you and segue into it. Those days are dead. And that's what's wrong. That's not progress. Progress is allowing people to go with it. We've become a society now where it's just the dead weight's cut. Absolutely on its own.
Sorry, things are changing on you, Sean.
You young whippersnappers.
I'm sorry. But in politics, nothing really happened. I would say it's just a lot of yelling. I think one thing that for sure I would say the public saw in the politics in 2020 is kind of like it's all kind of a facade. Like
I got to say, it was almost inevitable. What's happened, and even today with the Georgia runoff, it was inevitable.
Well, no, I'm saying like a facade, meaning they like the gridlock. It's like the mainstream media was kind of exposed in their BS, and then also the politicians were exposed in their BS, but nothing's really going to change about it. And I don't think people, especially with like the Black Lives Matter and things like that, to me, it's taught me it's so hard to make actual change in the world unless you do something catastrophic. Because like COVID catastrophically changed everyone's life one way or another. Mm-hmm. And like I couldn't stop, because some people, they individually go through things in their life, like their mother died or they're dead or something like that. That happens to everybody every year. But COVID really hit everybody in one big swoop and changed everyone's life. And you're like, well, I don't really like the way this is working. Like, I don't like this COVID shutdown, or I like this COVID shutdown. Like, we need, what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. And I don't really know going forward. What I really hope going forward is all of the animosity or challenging that was put on Donald Trump for 4 years is put on every single politician every year, because that's like you put their feet to the fire. But I don't really know if that's going to happen. I have doubts that's going to happen, because you got to challenge these folks sometimes depending on what they're trying to do. And I'm all in support of protests and all that kind of stuff. And that was probably one of the biggest showings of how BS politics work is, if you're supporting BLM protests, you're allowed to go out in the streets. But at the same time, you're telling everybody you can't be with your dying father in the hospital because of COVID. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, where's the empathy here? And to me, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. And I hope going forward we're as challenging to our leaders as we were on Donald Trump, because...
Oh, no, the sycophancy is already begun.
I think it'd be great.
Here's what I learned from 2020 politics, and I'm kind of stepping back so I can speak as objectively as possible. People wanted to change for decades.
I do kind of want to see Joe Biden fight somebody because I think if he got just as like enough push Trump got, I think he'd be like,
no, I say him and Jack Palance should do a push-up contest.
Like, let's do a push-up. I mean, come on, I think that would be. I don't see why people think that's a bad thing when he challenged people. I'd be like, yeah, let him do it. Like, let's see what happens.
So the previous president, the Obama administration, had some radical items on the agenda, socializing healthcare. And turning the IRS, which was not designed to have anything to do with healthcare, be the determiner of it.
Yeah.
That was radical in anyone's playbook. I'm not saying it's horrible Democrats. What I'm saying is that was a very radical plan. For decades, people have been saying we need a businessman to run the country. We need a non-politician. Enter Trump. People are like, okay, breath of fresh air, P.T. Barnum, but he's what we've been asking for, not a career politician, someone to fight the status quo. And Trump came in and said, I'm going to drain the swamp. Now, that did not mean drain the swamp of Democrats. I'm going to drain the swamp of entrenched.
He didn't do anything. He built a wall, kind of built a wall. And
but what I'm saying, and on both sides, is be careful what you wish for. You're gonna get it. So with Trump, of course, he bloviates. He's inarticulate. He has zero experience. So you can come in saying, I want to know, I want to push the button. I want to do this, and you got to have some kind of training behind it. You can't just be fresh faced. I can't suddenly become a chef today. I can't go into a restaurant and say I'm the head chef of this thing because I can't cook like that.
Yeah,
you have to have some background on it.
You would just serve PB&Js. That's all you would serve.
But never consistent.
And warm water.
Now, what happened eventually after the fresh of breath air with the Trump administration came in, a lot of members of the GOP realized when he said the swamp, he meant members of the GOP too. That just, if you're entrenched, you're the enemy. And which is
but
why
who did he out? Like, tell me who he outed.
Many people who quit under him because he was like, you're not pursuing this agenda, you're pursuing your previously entrenched agenda. So I'm not surprised that the GOP is split right now with half, or I don't even know the percentages, but percentage still never Trump or became never Trump, and percentage going, oh my gosh, we got to put it behind him or else. Because what I've heard right now, even like James Carville saying, we can't rest until the GOP is obliterated and erased off the face of the earth. I don't see members of the GOP saying we got to destroy all Democrats. Because again, Republicans don't believe in a one-party system, a one-payer system. We don't believe in the Affordable Care Act, or AKA Obamacare, because you can't progress with a single-payer system. Just look at Cuba. It doesn't work. And so the Republicans don't want the Democrats to disappear. But I'm hearing just nonstop how, with looking like today, the Democrats now own the Senate too. They own all three aspects of the government: the White House, the House.
Yeah, and I predict nothing happens.
No,
I predict nothing.
No,
happens.
these are kids with cookie jars, or bulls in china shops.
I predict nothing happens.
I hope you're right. I'd like to see what happens with the midterms. But again, much like with Trump,
I just hope I don't get
for good
charged.
or ill, we got what we wanted. Now, with what's going on now, it's like, be careful what you wish for. You might get it. My concern is that there will be court packing. There will be a concerted effort.
We're talking about 2020, not going in as like.
But no, that's where it was. That's where it was laid down. And as regards to the actual election, all I have to say is, how can I phrase this? Okay, if something looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it most likely is a duck, but it's not a given. Or where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I'm saying? It's not always the case. But if you look into a room with a bunch of smoking ducks, you don't say, hey, have I been, hello?
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
You're getting really loud.
Oh, is that
you're
what was that?
angry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're angry.
You don't say there's no such thing as a smoking duck and look over here instead. You pursue it. I'm concerned, and because it happened again last night, 99% of the Georgia votes were counted, and then they stopped for the night. And when they started back up, hey, look, we found more votes.
Did that normally do that?
No, that's never happened until November. And they did it again last night. It's because when you get a cookie, you want a glass of milk. If you can get away with this, you take it to the next step. there are questions to
conspiracy
be
theories. Yes,
there are
Here we
questions
go.
to be answered. You don't deny that it happened. That's what I'm trying to
well,
say.
I mean, it is kind of strange.
It's not always where there's smoke, there's fire.
Norm. If that's not the norm,
No.
that's strange.
It's
But I don't know.
incredibly strange.
I don't. You know what? Tell me what to do, man. I don't know. As long as you don't take certain.
But
things
I can
away
say
from
that
me.
it was orchestrated by those who are deeply entrenched, which is, a lot of the Democrat Party as well as a significant number of the GOP Party. I'm ticked at both because they would rather protect themselves and their status quo at the extent of, my party may be gone in 4 years, but I've been friendly enough.
But I'm good.
Yeah. And that's where the you had Nazis and Nazi sympathizers, and that's the difference between the two.
There's actually Nazi sympathizers. I figured it'd just be Nazis.
Yeah, it's called the French.
Wouldn't they just be Nazis?
No,
No.
those who you didn't.
Who are okay with them?
Yeah, or you strike a deal. The reason why France wasn't obliterated is because they said, "Listen, we'll let you come right on through. Just don't throw us in the the camps."
They care about their art.
Right, exactly. Their art was more important than 6 million Jews, or the
Well, but they didn't know that at the
Nazification of
time.
Europe in
They
the
didn't
world.
know that at the time. That's
Yeah,
unfair.
they did.
That's unfair. You weren't alive during that time. We don't even know if World War II even happened. So, you're not any fun.
Did I hear something that there's something going around that there are Helen Keller deniers?
I hope so. I still can't. You know,
My
I really can't
goodness.
get over. I can't get over this a man, a woman thing. Like I didn't know that.
They
was,
are a moron.
I know. I thought that was like a joke. I thought
Nope.
someone put it on Instagram as like some meme or something, and I was like, wait a second, this is real. This is awesome. And those are our leaders, by the way. That's my favorite part about it. Because it makes you wonder. Like it takes a special somebody to run for office, and it's like you get all spectrums of those people. It's bizarre to me, and maybe we need to. I guess I don't really know what the answer is to make you happy, Sean. I don't know what to make you happy. I mean,
Winning the lottery would go a long way.
oh, that would make you forget 6 million people?
Yeah.
Okay. I see how it is. Give and take. I get it. But I think in politics, though, I hope there are some changes, especially with the younger generations learning about, being involved and with your community and going forward, because either A, it's really good, looks good on your Instagram page that you're doing, cleaning up trash or whatever, or B, you get behind something you believe and you try to make the best of it, because there are some groups that I'd be concerned about, but then it's like everyone's trying to control a narrative, and then there's also another side of it where you're making real change, like who's actually changing things for the better. And I think there's certain people out there who are making a better world, but I think also those people are getting gobbled up by corporations, and they're going, "Hey, this guy."
If only they had a fair chance.
Well, I think it's like it makes me think who's
going
gonna
back to the Amazon.
Well,
thing.
I always think about the movie The Saint, and like the cold fusion aspect of it. And I was like, what's funny is
God help me, I love that movie.
Well, I know, but like it made me think like, what would happen if one person really did discover some type of something that could change the world? And it makes me think what the governments of the world will do about it, and the corporations. Because I feel like there is some of that, but not maybe like espionage, straight up assassins.
If you have a government entity or a government party whose platform is, we got to be involved in every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Healthcare, school, business.
To give you an idea, okay, Elon Musk, right?
Then they will.
I think the reason Elon Musk's
stifle it.
ideas are what are perceived as more successful than the past with like energy cars or whatever is I think it's because of him being so out there. Like he's talking out
and
there.
using his own money to do it.
Well,
if he were at the
too.
mercy of government only, government directive and government money, we wouldn't have a polio vaccine. We'd have the world's best iron lung.
Well, I mean, it makes. Well, I think there's also some. I mean, I think he makes it work, but I think he himself is the person who projects it forward every day. He's the one. Like, if he died,
hey, Krista, good to see you online.
Like, if he passed away, I think it would be like that technology that they're discovering won't be as productive because somehow
the driving force behind it.
That
makes sense.
He just goes on Twitter and just says, "Hey, man, this guy's a pedo," and then like somehow that he makes better cars. I don't really know how it works. I don't, guys. So, but somehow it's working one way or another because There's because I think it was Ford or whatever just announced like by like 2025 or 2035, one of those like the majority of the cars they make are going to be electric.
Awesome.
And I'm like, that's a bold statement because people are going to hold you to that. But now
I love that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like, I don't think that would have been there unless an Elon Musk or something.
Again, someone to jack up the status quo, which
Yeah.
is why you need competition that actually has a chance of succeeding.
Yeah, well, I don't know I would.
If we were at the mercy of the
I would-
government
I'm
and
gonna be-
NASA,
I'm not
we'd
gonna
never.
lie.
It's only because of Elon Musk that
Sean, if
we're
you-
even looking at the
If you had a
stars.
Tesla, I would seriously judge you.
Why? I would love a Tesla.
I judge you because it's kind of like I want a car like that because it goes fast, but then I don't want to deal with the hokey stuff with it. I don't want to deal with plugging it in. I don't want to deal with
I
that.
was about to say my primary issue with the Tesla is if I run out of gas,
But
it
you're
takes
also,
hours
But
to
I'm also
tank
a
it back up.
person. If I didn't have Holly, I would drive around on a motorcycle that fits me, and I'd be cool.
Yeah.
Because
Can we get a couple of motorcycles and create like Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man?
well, that's what I told
Cruise-
Holly. I
cruise
was
the
like,
country.
if we ever moved, we're moving to a big town just for a little bit, so I can just get a little like, a motorcycle, but not like a dirt bike or something, but something that is mobile and it's kind of like the urban.
I get you a
motorcycle.
Vespa.
No, see, I don't want a Vespa. I don't. I'd rather have something that can get me going, just in case they're like, I need to get going somewhere. But
In case the aliens come, you got to be able to weave between the traffic,
Yeah.
like Elijah Wood in Deep
that's a
Impact.
dirt bike. I guess I could do a dirt bike.
Yeah.
But dirt bikes are way too
Girly.
No, I'm trying to think of the word. Like I need storage. I need stuff I can.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. It's like, wait, where does the helmet?
Yeah, like I need
Go,
storage
or-
on it. So, because if I'm going to the grocery store, pick up my food.
Right.
Yeah, or I'm having drones deliver anything. Like, yeah, but I mean, Teslas are a special breed of people because you're spending an absurd amount of money for something that's limited.
But for those who buy the initial absurd amount of money ones, that enables it to be mass produced and brought down. The VHSs, everything, CD players, everything technological like that. You got to rely on the ultra rich to buy the first ones to
those
work it
rich
out
people.
and get it down, and that's why
cool.
you can't tax them out of existence because you need.
I
them.
would say if I could afford a Tesla where I live in Conroe, I could make it work.
If I didn't do such heavy driving, I'd love a Tesla. You kidding me?
My neighbor has a Tesla.
Yeah, I don't see why I wouldn't want one. But if everyone has Teslas, doesn't mean that there's suddenly zero pollution because, you need power plants to plug your car into.
We also need those children to mine the mines to get the little metals that make the batteries.
That's
and all that
right.
stuff. I don't see a problem with child labor. I don't see why people. It's the people who take advantage of the children, it causes the problem.
Okay.
Like if kids want to work, like make lemonade, let them make lemonade.
Oh,
dude.
yeah, if it's a lemonade stand,
But what's
sure.
what's the difference between
a
working?
coal mine, not so much.
Well, I mean,
Somewhere in between coal mines and lemonade stands, there's a
we can
line.
figure it out, guys. We just got to think of the children.
Think of the chillin'.
But going with technology, politics, and stuff with 2020, it's funny because the world stopped for a year, and everyone's kind of mentality changed. One thing that worries me is the fuel of the internet and social media already had a base of anger, and then I think the fire just went up with 2020 because of the COVID stuff, and it really creates a platform for negativity. I think social media is overall very negative.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, because I was listening to a show, and they were talking about Wonder Woman, which I enjoy. I enjoy listening to people talk about how bad movies are. But they made a good point where the main character, the villain in it, was he inherently a bad person or inherently a good person, but just turned bad?
Mm-hmm.
And like, what proves that people like you could take Sean and put him in the 1500s, would he be a good person or a bad person, or is it the
He'd be burned at the stake.
well, is it the environment around them that makes them the good or bad? And
yeah, nature versus nurture.
yeah, and like social media, it's like it somehow takes the worst out of us and gives you a platform to express the worst of you. And like it's really strange to me because I feel like a lot of people who go on social media and chat with people like you do, like I know you love doing that, but like you would never say that. Most of the time you wouldn't say those kind of things to their face.
I would.
Well, you would, because
that's why it's
that's why
that's
you're
why
burning,
my email address is my name.
That's
my
why you're
Twitter
burning,
handle's my name.
You're burning at the stake, and you're gonna get some creepy guy to follow you, and you're gonna get murdered. And but no, I think that's the sad thing I saw about 2020 was just the hate, especially for politics, and especially for like the what do you call it, the rhetoric of people. It's just like, man, y'all.
That's the one thing, and I hate to say I'm hoping for this, but you know how in the past I've kind of joked around saying this is what's killing us this week.
Are you hoping for another We Are the World? I think you're hoping for that.
Goodness, no. I'm a big proponent of be careful what you wish for, and I'm not wishing ill or...
Is this a Wonder Woman thing?
No. This is just kind of in general.
Because that was the whole ending of Wonder Woman. It's like, you don't need to wish for things. You need to just trust in yourself. I forgot what it was. It was probably one of the worst monologues I've ever heard. You've
heard me in the past say, what's going to, this is what's killing us this week, or this is no longer killing us from last week. Soon enough, what will no longer be killing us, it's, when I say Trump, it's not, I'm not speaking, not like a Trump fan. It's just, like Richard Nixon said, soon you won't have Dick Nixon to kick around anymore when he was leaving the office. Well, with Trump out and Democratic controlled everything, no one will be able to blame the Republicans or Trump for anything anymore. And that will be interesting to see what happens with the media, with entertainment in general, with politics, where it's like we can no longer put all of our woes on the world.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter, universal this, healthcare, what we can't put it on, because you can't say, the whole 4 years later, well, I'm just, I was given a bad economy or whatnot, like Obama did after Bush, saying, well, we were in a recession, so we were slow coming out of it. Without COVID, the economy was booming. So, and the trends were already coming back. So I am looking forward to that, not wishing ill, but just looking forward to, if you can't blame the person you've been blaming for all your woes anymore, that's where you start looking inwards. Here's the thing about you talking about your social media. I think the best thing that could ever happen for social media is also the worst thing, because it would be a complete destruction of all sense of privacy. If everyone, much like a social security number, everyone was given a phone number and an email address, and that was your identity email address in your name, Richard P. Schisler IV at email.com, Sean K. Keith Thompson at email, whatever. And that way, anytime you posted something, it was you. You couldn't hide behind anonymity. I think that would civilize the internet. However, that would also be the total destruction of privacy, which, like, we don't go announcing our social security numbers for the same reason. So it wouldn't work, and it's la-la land stuff, but I'm telling you,
well, I think also,
that gets rid of the hatred on the internet.
I think folks who are listening, like, you control what you do on social media, and you also control what social media does for you. So, like what I do is I see people that talk about stuff, I kind of just say, I don't really, get out of here. Like, I don't want to have this negativity in my life.
This is something that was interesting for me yesterday. There was
who'd you get in a fight with? Tell me about it.
No one. I was scrolling through Twitter, and I think the Washington Post had an article where they said that George Floyd was unarmed.
No, you're talking about someone else. I know you're
no,
talking
not
about.
George Floyd. The other guy.
His name Jack?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Where they said in the headline he was unarmed, and he wasn't. By his own testimony, he had a knife in his hands and was swapping. And so I tried to report it on Twitter, going, "This is incorrect." Not even fake news, just incorrect. And on Twitter, to report something, it's only if a civil rights group is being misrepresented, or if you personally feel there is nothing to say this newspaper headline has inaccurate information. There's nothing able for you to report on, and that surprised me. I would like that to be an option.
Just say it has nudity.
Well, no, I don't want to make false claims to get something. I want to correct the record.
Well, then, you say nudity, and they're like, hey, we saw that you made a false. I was like, oh, I couldn't find an option.
They're not going to email me back on that and give me the option.
But don't use Twitter, dude.
But it's just funny. Go on Twitter sometime. Try to report something that I posted, and just see what options you're given. And it's funny how specific it is on certain issues.
It changes on different posts?
No, but it's very specific. You only have like half a dozen options, and none of them are that this newspaper article is misleading or has wrong information on it. You don't have that option.
Well, one thing I wonder is, after Trump goes away or like stops being president, I wonder if he's always going to have. I think it'd be hilarious if Twitter just leaves on the information in the election is still it was disputed, whatever it says, and they do it on every single tweet of his. I think that would be great, and I think that
well, that's why he posted from his account and not the official White House President POTUS account.
Yeah. Well, it's weird to me that they had to put that on there to remind people like
they didn't have to.
This has been disputed. I'm like, well,
they didn't have to.
We know that he's trying to. Like, we know what he's. It's kind of funny to me, and because at one point, I mean, think about it, you're high up in these social media companies. You have to have a little fun. There's some nefarious stuff going on. Like
Yes.
people are reading your messages. Get over it.
Oh yeah.
So, especially if you're famous.
What was our so we've done
Quality of life.
Quality of life. That's it.
Well, your blood pressure needs to be checked out. That's for sure. My quality of life has been great because I've been married for 2 years and I love it. And that's definitely 2020 was definitely a fun year with my wife. She's a nurse. She's I guess she's
she's a frontline worker and she's made it through thus far. I'm so happy.
She made a joke, not a joke, but she's like, hey, one thing I really enjoyed about 2020 was people started noticing that the people aren't heroes. It's just, let's just make this place a better place. Because at first, when COVID hit, they were like, these nurses and stuff were heroes. And then she says she knows it kind of transferred from being heroes to like encouragement and kind of like, we're trying to make the best of this. And positivity was kind of in the hospital, even though COVID was happening.
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, you're my hero. And it turned into just like, oh, we really respect what you're doing. What can we do to help?
To be recognized and respected. That's awesome.
So, yeah, I told her to start taking money. I was like, just bring.
Take tips.
Yeah, I was like, just get a pillowcase and just carry it around.
If you think I don't tip my proctologist, you're on drugs.
I mean, you gotta told her to take advantage of the
you
situation.
leave 20 on the nightstand beforehand.
You get the will lawyer there, and just be like, how much land do you have? Oh, I'll take an acre.
Yeah, just deed me an acre here.
That happens, and then they go to court all the time for that. She was telling me when she worked at the hospice, Houston Hospice, and she said, yeah, it was always really hard on certain days of the week because people would always bring their lawyers in, and she's like, and I always thought that was so pathetic because literally they're on their hospice bed, and like a son or a cousin is like demanding the lawyer to be there to change the will or something like that. And she's like, it's just let these people die. And then she also told me most people die at night.
Really?
Yeah. And she also said that she believes is a lot of times where people are in hospice, if you give them a full sponge bath, full clean, like clean everything, they're ready to go because they feel clean.
That makes a lot of sense. You've also brought the mood of this show crashing down.
Well, I mean, it made me think about it because she goes, sometimes she's like, especially with, she said females, and I guess this is the generational thing. She said certain females, she could tell they felt uncomfortable. And so she would do certain things to make them feel more comfortable, meaning like clean them and do all that stuff. And she said, yeah, and within, after I did that, you can tell, like, especially when there's only certain behaviors people in hospice kind of give out. It's either like a struggle or it's peace kind of thing. And she said she knows people are struggling, get in peace mode, and then boom, they're ready to go.
Okay.
So take control of your own fate. 2021.
There is no fate.
Take a bath. Yeah, take control of it. That's what I just said.
I was quoting the Terminator.
Oh, really? Take a bath.
That's
please. Important.
Please, daily.
What else? I mean, that's about it, man. Like, I do I look forward to 2021? Well, of course, I'm alive, and so I think outside of that, like, I'm looking forward.
Any year you begin vertical is a good year.
Well, I mean, the thing that really upsets me about the COVID thing, besides the horrible tragedies that are happening with people's families, is it's kind of like if you're not living it, like I don't have anyone in my life that's had COVID. Like I don't fully understand it. So
But isn't that with any malady or disease?
Yeah.
Before.
But COVID's everywhere though. Like you got to wear a mask. And people are.
But cancer's everywhere too. But we don't appreciate it till it hits someone, either a celebrity or a family member.
It's kind of weird.
Lupus is that?
Because I really like. I wonder. There's no going back to normalcy in a sense, but it's like.
Well, you can take what you've learned and add it to the new normal. Well, as you know, as a kid in Japan, wearing masks if you were sick, that was the thing. I mean,
You're a leper.
Right, but I mean,
don't be
you
by that
go
guy.
to work, you'd put on a mask, or you'd wear these white gloves. So when I was a kid in Japan, it took me about a day to get used to it, and that was their normal, so it became part of my new normal. So the whole wearing a mask or not, that's always been my normal. And so I know a lot of people are kind of catching up to that.
I wonder how long Joe Biden's going to wear a mask.
He said he wouldn't wear one in his inauguration.
Well, he's a killer.
That's right.
I'm
Super
kidding.
spreader events.
Spreader. I love that word. But yeah, 2021, I think everything, I'm looking forward to a lot of stuff. Politics, not really. I mean, I feel like that kind of goes in the circles a lot, so I'm not really going to be part of that dance. But I am looking forward to Dune, the movie, if it ever comes out. I do like that. Other stuff like that, I'm looking forward to advancing the radio station.
Yeah.
Building it up, doing more projects, getting more shows on the air, getting more listeners participating, and we're having a lot more fun with the nonprofit stuff. And I think that's really going to change the atmosphere at the radio station. And I'm looking forward to being with you and going to stupid places.
I'm looking forward to Dick and Skippy do stuff. I'm telling you, we need to do Dick and Skippy get COVID tested.
I mean, I'll do it. You can shove a camera down my nose. They've already done that to me.
No, this is a mouth swab place.
I want to do the nose thing.
You go right ahead. You go on with your bad self.
I told you that story before, right? Where I had that cut up here by my brain. I don't know how I got there, but
heavy cocaine
the
use,
rhinoplasty guy like invited all the interns in. He's like, watch this, and like shoves this camera up my nose.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, I remember I was like, can I see it? So the whole room, there was about 15 people in it. They shifted me so I could see the camera going up my nose, and they're all around me. I was like, this is great. This is whoa. And like, see, I'm all about that. I'm all about learning about how my body works, and I'm always discovering. So be curious.
Yeah, the voyage of self-discovery of your body.
What is the Walt Whitman quote? Like, don't judge, be curious. Is that it?
Sure. If it's not, it should be.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, don't judge people, but be curious about people.
Yeah.
And that's my saying for 2021.
There you go. My saying for
I think
2021,
it's somebody.
and it's going to be
Not me.
My saying for 2021 plus my new presidential campaign slogan is going to be better. Strive to be better every day. Wasn't that Joe
Biden's be better?
I don't. Well, it could
What
be.
was his thing?
I don't know. I also say freedom, but no. My thought is there are aspects of 2021 I'm looking forward to, but on the whole, it's not so much looking forward to as eagerly anticipating what happens next. I get joy out of the unknown. I'm so old and so many things have happened to me that I'm rarely surprised by stuff.
Yeah.
And so when it happens, that's why I've been on this holy quest for a video game or movie just to scare the snot out of me. I want to be, I just want to be like a little kid.
You're gonna be a murderer because you're not happy with the life you're living, but you want the next high.
That could be it.
I feel like that's a murder. The next step is
coming 2021. The Skippy in the morning show.
He's gonna be a psychopath.
Still looking for Dick. He's out there somewhere.
But
ignore the shallow grave. So politically,
garbage.
Technologically, entertainment with sports and films and theater. I'm eagerly anticipating to see what is going to be on the far end of it.
Yeah, I don't see anything like the NFL isn't going to close. I think what's going to be interesting is long term, how do we, because COVID, I think a COVID thing is kind of like, this is my conspiracy theory, because COVID's kind of the beginning of world events, that how we handle and how we do stuff like that. And it's going to be interesting to see how the big industries adapt. And the fact that COVID happened and the Wall Street didn't fail and somehow it made money, like that to me is like, all right, we're giving people ideas now, and now we know what works, what doesn't work, and what companies are going to, try to adapt and all that kind of stuff. But I fear for your life this year, Sean. I really do. I'm I mean, the gauntlet was just thrown down. Apparently, you're gonna murder me. So now I need to.
It'd be like Kato and Inspector Clouseau. Every time you walk in the studio, Skippy.
Hey, let me ask you something. So that's the Pink Panther, right?
Yes.
So what is the Green Hornet?
Okay.
Didn't they do the same thing?
Yeah, the Kato of the Pink Panther was
Kato and the Green Hornet?
well, no, he was a nod and a wink to Green Hornet's Kato.
Okay. Thank you.
The Asian back in the day Oriental.
I know about the Green Hornet. I don't know a lot about Pink Panther, but I do know.
Now Bruce Lee played Kato in the Green Hornet.
Yeah.
And but no, and Burt Wong played him in the Pink Panther movies. But it was a different character, but it was inspired.
Because my dad liked the Pink Panther movies.
Yeah, the Pink Panther Kato was a nod and a wink to the Green Hornet's Kato.
And that was only like because I couldn't understand what the movie was trying to do when I was little. I was like, is it trying to be a comedy?
Or the Pink Panther?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like,
but a lot of humor went over your head.
Yeah, and I was like, why does this guy keep trying to fight him? Like, it's so random, and I don't understand.
But later on, you realize that Clouseau told him, "You must keep me on my toes every day. Try to kill me no matter when, no matter where."
Yeah, I like it. Except the Steve Martin version. And
correct. Oh yes, no, only Peter Sellers. They should have stopped with when they brought in Ted Wass as his son. That was no. And they did one where it was just unused footage. No, there were 3 decent shot in the dark, Pink Panther Returns, and the one after that. After that, done.
All right. Well, anything else I need to know about?
I want to thank those of you who've been listening in and dropping notes, Nick and Krista and stuff. Please keep the conversation going. Friday we got special guests coming in. We got Mr. The Suture guy.
We could probably pull it up.
Yeah, well,
I should probably post something.
It's a surprise, yeah. But we do have a show on Friday with a special guest.
Yeah,
and we'll fill you in on local news events and what's happening over the weekend.
I'm going to ask him to cut me and suture me live on the air. I'd be like, just do it.
Oh, or better, I'll ask him to let me cut you and suture you.
And then what we'll do is we'll do a bonus round, or what they called like double Jeopardy round, where you cut the artery. And you're like, oh no, you
have 6 seconds to clamp off this artery before you bleed out.
Yeah, and then we'll be back Friday. We're also trying to get some local politicians in next week who got elected. I guess not politicians; they're elected people.
No, there's some politicians, but elected
like
officials.
Judge Santini, I just talked to him on the messaging and trying to get him in as soon as he can. I know he's new to the bench,
he's trying on the robe.
He's probably trying to
ironing
figure out
the pleats.
You know, like, is it worth coming on the show? They're talking about
He's
murder.
testing gavels.
We're gonna talk about the murder you're gonna perform.
Alleged murder.
Yeah, alleged. Oh, sorry. Here we go. We're gonna get them in, so we're excited about that. We're gonna continue our talker review. I think we're gonna take everything starting in February is when we're gonna start doing more video work. Because there's, that's just when we decided to do it.
That's right.
And thank you so much for listening to today's Dick and Skippy.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope to see you on Friday. We'll be live, hopefully at 9:00, Sean. And and you can call me out when it's my fault, because there's occasionally.
The only times I'm early are the times that you're late.
Yeah. Well, you're my yin.
And you're my yang.
Which one's better?
It depends on your mindset.
All right. Which one's the angry one?
Oh God, I'm second guessing myself now. Quick.
Isn't that a Japanese thing, or is that
Chinese?
Chinese. Oh, so you're forgiven for not knowing that.
Korean also, I think.
I don't know.
Oh, the storm clouds are coming. Look outside.
Yeah, watch out for rain from this afternoon, starting at 1:00 here in Montgomery County. It's 10:49 here on the 6th of January. Dick and Skippy, Lone Star Community Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station. We will see you guys later.
Peace.